Thank you for joining me. This is Kati Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Today, we're going to talk about revamping your hiring process. I have first time guest Jessi Ivey here. She has over 20 years of experience in the beauty industry and is the co founder of Lewis and Ivey Salon and founder of Lewis and Ivey Academy in Tucson, Arizona. She is passionate about advanced education, strong salon culture, and mentoring stylists at every stage of their career. Jessi is known for her honest, no sense approach to growth, leadership, and raising the standards of the industry. When everybody else was a little bit scared during the pandemic, she went off and started a salon. They hit $1 million their first year, and in 2025 hit $2.5 million in one location. So we are excited to hear the secrets to her sauce. Without further ado, help me welcome Jessi Ivey. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to speak with you, and what a tremendous story of just growth, growth, growth. I want to go back to the beginning for you, though, Jessi. Starting a salon during COVID is already scary, but did you work behind the chair prior to that somewhere else? Were you independent? Tell me a bit about how you got into the beauty industry and what that journey looked like.
So I have a very bittersweet journey. I grew up in the salon industry, and when I started out when I was 19 years old, I worked in a family salon, and I intended to grow there, and it was an incredible salon. They had a beautiful education system, great benefits. They took great care of their employees. I kind of just got to a point in my career where I hit a ceiling. And I believe that when the pandemic happened, it just became very clear that I wanted more. And I had time to think because I had time off, which is dangerous for me. And I started doing a lot of research and decided at the time I have three children, and my kids were 1.5, 3, and 5. So it was a huge risk, and it was terrifying. And I also risked losing relationships in the process. So took me a lot of soul searching, and I did a lot of work with women mentors who helped guide me through that process. And things happened faster. They just unraveled. We found an existing salon space that had been closed for 2 years, and it had everything in it. So we were able to do everything for me was kind of forced. It was like, all right, God was pushing me through this door, and I kept stumbling forward even though I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I did put a government shutdown clause in the lease just in case. My husband was extremely supportive. Without him, I couldn't have done any of this, especially with three small children. And my sister, we opened it together during August of 2020. And it was just the two of us in the beginning there. And it took a long time, but people started to kind of slowly come. And we started growing. And I made so many mistakes. I did everything myself, like the bookkeeping. I didn't even know how to reconcile. I just kind of would wing it, but then I would reach out to close friends to help me learn how to do things and evolve and change. I did have a lot of experience where I worked before in being an educator and a technical leader. So I had the gift of those skills, and I did get so much from my time there that I was able to use that. And I honestly credit that to the success of the salon, that I got to grow up in an incredible company.
Well, this is incredible and it took guts. I feel like the government shutdown clause, I've never heard anybody bring that up. That's very smart that you included that and made sure that was part of your lease. And who would even think that you'd have to remember to have that in there, now, but that's important. So once you started your salon, it started with two, people started to come. What did that look like? What was this differentiator you felt that your business had that people were attracted to and helped you grow to over 25 team members?
I will say in the beginning, my hiring process was basically like if you had a pulse, I hired you. I mean, we didn't really have the reputation that we do now. It took time to build that, and I think to build trust in the community of stylists. it was a long process, and I did make like a lot of mistakes in that process. And as time went on, and I also like grew a team of leaders around me, I had them there to support me and help me in the hiring process. I definitely was someone who was like, I want to hire everybody. Everybody's cute, and I want to bring them on and like grow them and see the best in everybody. But there definitely were some, hiccups along the way, and I had to grow as a leader. I made a lot of mistakes. I had to learn how to have constructive conversations with kindness. It definitely was a scary time. Like in 2023, we expanded. So we started off as a 9 chair salon, and then we expanded and doubled our size. And right after that expansion, I had a pretty big loss. And in hindsight, it was a blessing because they just were people that didn't fit into the culture that we had. And there was nothing wrong with them or us. It just wasn't the right fit. And we were able to learn from our mistakes in that situation. And I just started hiring a lot more slowly. Multiple shadow days, multiple interviews, just being very clear about what our expectations are, making sure that they knew what their journey looked like. We have an education program, which I think is the biggest draw. We do education every other Wednesday night. We've built that program. We grow baby stylists from beauty schools. I go into beauty schools and do free education, which is the biggest attraction. If anyone's not doing it, it's just the best way to do it. But it does take time. Like you have to be present to grow your team. And I'm present behind the chair about 50 hours a week. So I still work heavily behind the chair. Nobody told me the salon profit margin was as low as it is when we started. But we've definitely like we're getting to a place where maybe eventually I'll step back a little bit. However, I love being there so that my girls that are brand new can access me at any time with every client as they're growing. But I've also grown leaders in the salon that support me in that. So I'm not doing it alone anymore.
Now, when you think about revamping your hiring process, what were the things that you felt like, ooh, if now that we do this, this is key in finding like our right people that get what we're about and want to be a part of what we have?
The shadow days,
Mm.
100% shadow days, because in my opinion, when you're doing an interview, it's like a blind date. Everyone comes in, they have like their best foot forward, they look amazing, and I think it's really important that the person who is attempting to be hired has a good idea of what our culture is and what if they really truly want to be a part of it. So I know that when they come in on a shadow day, my team is not putting on an act for them. They do not care what these people think. They're just doing what they do. They can see the clients that we're serving in the salon, what kind of services that we do. They see how I work. They see how the front desk works. And I have them come in multiple times. I have them come in and see our education program. Like, is this the type of education that you're looking for? It's multiple interviews, some with my manager, my co-educator, with myself to make sure that everyone feels like that person's the right fit, but more importantly, they feel like they're the right fit for our space. Because we have an intensive program, so it takes a while to get on the floor, and I'm very clear about all of that. It is a little bit of like an old school model, but it works beautifully, and all of our stylists are well-rounded. And as soon as they're on the floor, like they're supported the entire time and they build quickly. So we've been blessed that our reputation, and I believe it's because we set our stylists up for success, is so good. We don't have a lot of challenges. Our guests are very happy. The community here is incredible. So we are definitely blessed with that.
I think that's awesome. Were there anything that you learned in this process, like the hard way, where you're like, oh, we'll never do that again as we bring somebody on board or anything in the
Um,
hiring or training process?
I definitely think it's important to stick to your 90-day like review process. I would say we definitely could be a little bit better than that, but we really haven't had any issues. Our girls, we have lead interns that help to train and set everybody up for that. And we really work on having, I think communication's key. One of my clients who she's incredibly successful taught me that clarity with kindness is so important, having those conversations. And I will say confrontation was very scary for me. I'm a people pleaser. I want everyone to love me. And I realized that not having those conversations was actually more cruel because everyone's frustrated with this person and they're not getting the tools and the guidance and the coaching that they need to be successful. So that was one of my biggest growing opportunities, and as well as if something's not a good fit, having that conversation and kind of ending it sooner so that each person can be successful on their own. And I will say, most of my people that have recently moved on or changed career paths, it has all been in a beautiful, positive way. And I'm really grateful for that. So it kind of avoids that uncomfortable conflict where there's anger or resentment amongst each other.
I think it's key for owners listening if you share what kind of conversation did you have to have that felt like you were nervous. This is a little bit of a confrontation, like I'm confronting this conflict, but it was important to have. What would be one of those examples?
Of avoiding the conflict. I believe it's if people are possibly not pulling their weight, and we have a very like it's a team driven environment, and so it's important to have those conversations because sometimes I don't think people realize it. I've noticed that I'm definitely a little bit more OCD, so I see things around our salon space that are, kind of above and beyond ridiculous. I call them side quests that I'll ask the girls to do when there's downtime, and that way I avoid resentment because we are paying them. So like it's okay. We have a very chill environment and we have fun. We will, in downtime film stuff for social media, and we'll find ways to stay busy when there is downtime, but it's important for the girls to communicate amongst each other so that they avoid resentment because we all want to support each other. So I've had that. I've had conversations where people are leaving, and I would say that's the most uncomfortable conversation, but I've had people who do it so eloquently and with respect. And to me, that's so important because you don't want to burn bridges in this industry. And I've had people leave and burn bridges. I've also done things where I've gone probably a little bit too out of my way as a practicing codependent. And I'm learning to do that more professionally, where I can still help my team without maybe overstepping some boundaries I've had to set for myself so that I don't get into those situations.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that. A little bit more about setting boundaries for yourself. Where did you maybe overstep that you had to reel that in, just for everybody's sake?
I used to help the girls more on a financial basis when they were struggling, and do it more like I was doing it more as kind of like, okay, here's a forward of things, but I would do it out of my own personal account. And most of the time, like some of my girls would pay me back or acknowledge that they were super respectful about that and grateful for the help. And then I've had other situations where it was, oh, that was a gift or that was this. And it was just so uncomfortable. And so I had to stop doing it that way, and now I'll do more like if they need a paycheck advance. So it's all done professionally in writing. We both understand what it looks like in that situation. So I'm not saying I don't help people anymore, but I'm definitely a little bit more careful and guarded because it definitely like that was my codependency trying to make sure everybody loved me all the time. And it in a way that's more selfish behavior because it was about me and being liked and not truly setting them up for success and helping them.
I have literally never heard of a salon owner playing banker like this before. This is wild to
Yeah,
hear.
don't
So,
do it. Don't do it.
um, that is very nice that you even think to do that, but it makes me wonder, and this is not in a bad way. Just tell us a bit about your compensation structure, because I'm sure people listening are like, well, are you commission? Is it hourly? What does that look like for your team?
Okay, so we are like hourly versus commission. And so we do take really good care of our team. We have a huge support staff, so that expense is definitely really high, but I believe like our support staff is incredible. It keeps it as a well-oiled machine. Our girls double book, so they're able to make twice as much revenue. We pay starting with our interns, we start at minimum wage and then we work our way up from that. We have about I would say 4 or 5 interns and slash front desk help, and I have 2 managers that do the whole front desk and then also help with all the back end stuff. And we make sure that we provide enough hours for each one of our team members so that they have a livable wage, which I know in a lot of salons, they only bring you on if the stylist is paying for it. So we have those conversations up front, and they all have around at least 30 hours a week. If some need more, we have conversations to set them up for that so that they are making enough money to have a livable wage. when they get on the floor, it's hourly versus commission. So no matter what, they earn what's greater, but they're getting their hourly rate. So they have that comfort of knowing that they're getting the same paycheck that they were getting before. And then once they break commission, then they're making commission. We start at 42% and then we go up to 45%. And we have like a tiered structure of milestones that they have to hit in order to get promoted to the next rank. And we also have a 3% 401k benefit share after they've been with us for a year. And we also provide health insurance plus advanced education. I pay for at least one big one a year. And then we are doing education all the time within the salon. So I wanted to create a space where I would want to work and make sure that everyone was supported throughout their journey and their process. So it's very expensive, but it also has created this loyalty. And I think that's also why we went from 2 to 27 employees in a matter of 6 years.
And then that is a lot of mouths to feed. It's a lot of clients to serve. And so you hitting 2.5 million, what would be like three things you'd say like it contributed to that? Is it your double booking approach? Is it your marketing? Is it your what would you say to that?
Well, I will say our marketing 100% is word of mouth. Like I'm sorry, but no matter what, it is always that. And I know a lot of people think that like social media is so watered down. I believe that people connect with us on social media, but they found out from their friend. And like that's how they connect with you. So word of mouth is definitely number one marketing tool. I believe the services that we provide and the fact that the girls are well educated before they're providing those services help with our client retention. And we already have a good reputation, so it's bringing people in the door. We did open up, I think, in the right area. We're in Oro Valley. It's a beautiful community up there. Lots of different types of, like, you got families, you have retirement communities, you have everybody. We serve everybody. And I also think being all inclusive and serving everybody is also a huge reason why we're successful because we can take care of the entire demographic and we're not just a specialty salon. Even though I do have girls in my salon that do specialize or they prefer to do one thing more than another, it's more all inclusive and we train our girls to do everything so that they're well rounded and they can handle any client that sits in their chair. I believe that's a huge part of the reason why we're successful. Most of my girls hit commission right off the bat. So their books are pretty full. They do take longer, and then we eventually shorten things down. We don't double book anybody until they're ready. If a stylist doesn't want to double book, we don't do it. And we have a very like it's a more modern approach where we have work-life balance, so the girls don't have to work full time. However, if they are going to work part-time, I just have them station share so I can maximize my real estate and they get the work-life balance that they're looking for.
I love that. As you think about, we're not quite halfway through 2026. What would be some major goals that you have for your salon this year?
Major goals this year, I'm settling into being making more time and carving out more time for my team. So this year, my goals were to do more intense one-on-ones with them, which I've been doing quarterly. Before I would run numbers by them, but it was kind of in passing. So I wanted to connect more and really focus on growing each individual for their individual goals. And I think it's important to meet them where they're at. Some girls want to work less, and I want to be able to support them in how do you maximize your schedule on the days that you're there. Or I have some women who are having children and, that's becoming more of a priority. So how do we work with that? Um, my goals are to continue to grow. I'm working on creating a manual for our education program. So I'm kind of doing that slowly instead of trying to do it all at once. And that's been really helpful. I've been doing so many shadow days. And I love that. I love bringing in stylists, even though I'm not necessarily always hiring, just letting them experience our salon. And I also think that helps with, again, that word of mouth and reputation. So my goals are to continue to connect, to continue to grow. Last year, I did a lot of stuff that took me away from the salon, and I grew and learned a lot. And I wanted to put that down and just participate more with focusing on my salon. I was doing business coaching, and it just was so much outside of what I was doing already that I needed to really focus on what was important, and it was my girls.
Cool. Well, I love everything you've shared. I've taken a ton of notes. Is there something you wish you could share with owners listening that we haven't covered when it comes to your hiring process?
I think it's the hire slowly, fire quickly. Definitely. The shadow days, I think, have been a game changer. Having very honest, transparent, like conversations about what their journey is going to look like so they know what to expect. I'm very upfront, I'm very clear. I don't sugarcoat anything. And I do think that's why I attract a lot of people from school because I'm transparent. I share more than I should probably. But I think that that sets everyone up for success because expectations are premeditated resentment. So if you don't know what you're walking into, you don't know what your journey looks like. If you're not being completely transparent about what their hours, their schedule, how are their books going to fill up, what does that look like? If you're not honest, it's going to lead to trouble into the future. So I really truly believe having those conversations and multiple shadow days, multiple interviews will help set you up for success and hiring the right people.
Love it. Well, what would be some final words of wisdom, Jesse, for owners listening today, just to be an encouragement as they continue to embark on this journey of being a salon owner?
I believe that for me, I've done so much education. I listen to your podcast regularly. I listen to other podcasts. Be a student always. It is so important to continue to learn. I am so grateful that I've learned every aspect of business and I've decided which things I'm going to hire out for and which things I can handle myself to keep a pulse on the business. I do my own payroll, I do my own bookkeeping, so I know what's going in, what's coming out, how each of my stylists are doing. It's to be involved and to not step away. I think education is huge. So, in order for me to continue to teach my team, I have to be on top of everything. So, continued education is a non negotiable. But be flexible and be graceful with yourself. I have made so many mistakes. The whole point is if we're learning from them and growing from them, it will set you up for success. I'm going to continue to make mistakes, but those are definitely my best learning opportunities. So just take it easy, continue to be a student, and enjoy the ride.
Well, you're amazing, and I'm so happy. I feel like you might be my first Tucson, Arizona guest.
Woo.
So that is very cool. Congratulations on all you've accomplished and just for the growth that you've had. I think it's awesome, and it's a testament to your commitment to your team members. So I appreciate you being here to share that.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. And thank
Thank
you
you.
all for joining us here week after week at Beyond the Technique. If you appreciate this platform, please take a moment, leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like you will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.
Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.